reasonable when we have the baby. Don't set yourself up for failure and start twice-a-day walks and things like that. You know, between you and your spouse, decide on one thing you can do daily with that pet to still make them part of the family.
Now, you mentioned something, too, that I think is kind of neat. Almost have a dry runner, an existing dry runner, as far as the nursery goes, and what routines might be.
Yeah. Set it up as early as you can. Bring in the gear. Bring in the diapers, because that might be interesting to eat. So we want to learn now that you don't eat those.
Believe me, I can attest dogs going through the diaper pail. Yeah, not a good idea.
So bring in all the gear that is going to come with baby and allow the pet to check it out. You know, don't separate them from the room because that creates fear. Introduce them into the room. Be with them. Set up protocols that are okay. So if you don't want the cat in the crib, establish it now.
Which is not a good idea.
Yeah, we don't recommend it. It's harder to train cats than dogs, but there are devices you can deter cats from going into the crib because they'll go when you're not looking.
Oh,
Cats
absolutely.
Are way smarter than dogs. They'll be in there like a dirty shirt.
Absolutely. And also, which I think is kind of cool, but it makes perfect sense because there's going to be new smells and sounds with a baby.
Yeah.
Even get a doll that cries, you said.
Yeah.
Just get them used to that.
Yeah, and let them see the doll that cries. I mean, there's lots of them. Let them check it out. Show them the way to check it out, not grabbing it and pulling it, but sniffing it. Again, positive reward. If it means treats or praise from you, do all of that well in advance so that this thing that is going to take up a lot of their attention.
And to them, it is a thing. They don't know.
Yeah, they don't know.
And don't shaft the dog, as you said.
That's right, yeah.
Okay. All right. Listen, there's a lot that goes into having a baby, as you all know. So take a little time and plan ahead. It'll be better for the pet, better for the baby. And believe me, do you need more stress when you have a baby? No. Thanks so much for popping by.
You're welcome.
We'll see you again real soon.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking next week.
Yeah, well, no.
No?
The week after.
Week after. You can come by next week if you want. I'm doing nothing. Anyways, we're taking a break. We'll be right back. 2 weeks, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Heather Steele. Coming up in news, I'll show you how these handmade heart-shaped pillows are helping cardiac patients.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, research shows that pets spayed or neutered live 30% longer than those not fixed, and there are many facts and a few myths surrounding your pet being spayed or neutered. And we went to a dog park to chat with some of you about your thoughts on this subject. Take a look.
He's a show dog. He comes from a line of champion Airedales, but we're not, planning to show him, so we did go and get him neutered.
When you're bringing them to an off-leash park, you don't want to be bringing them when they're in heat, and it's just something. And for animal control, like there's just so many unwanted animals, I just wouldn't consider not getting them neutered.
Population control, and there's no mess, and I think they're just a better dog for it. I think, anyway. They don't get that rambling urge to do anything.
Population control, it helps a lot with this type of breed. It helps a lot with their illnesses and stuff later on in life, and just settles him down a little bit so he's not as rambunctious and stuff like that.
All right, great to hear from you folks. And Andrea Render's back from the Animal Hospital of Manitoba. Well, what do you think about their comments about spaying and neutering?
I think they're pretty common. They're good ones. There's lots to spaying and neutering. Like, the first thought is no more pets. We have enough of them.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Just ask anybody in a shelter.
Oh,
They're to the rafters. Of course, we have the Humane Society on all the time.
Yeah.
But a couple of things surrounding it. Let's talk myths first, if you don't mind.
Sure.
That a cat should have a litter first before you get them fixed.
No, and cats, females will come into heat pretty young. Like chronologically, they're young when they first come into heat, and they're usually not good mothers. So
really? Okay.
No, they end up not being interested in nursing and caring for their little ones. So all of a sudden, you, the owner, have a lot of work, feeding every 2 hours. If your mama cat isn't into it, they're teenagers, so they're not quite ready to have a litter.
Sure. All right, what about weight gain? I know it sounds silly, but a lot of people are concerned, well, if I get them fixed, they're going to gain weight and be lazy and lie around.
Yeah. No, but two things happen at the same age that we neuter them. So we spay or neuter them.
Okay.
Also, they've hit puberty. They're finished growing. So their metabolic rate caps out.
Okay.
And we keep feeding them like a puppy or a kitten for another year. So when their metabolic rate comes down because their growth spurt is done and we feed them lots, they get round. Yeah. And at the same time, then we spayed or neuter them. So then they blame us. Oh, well, you made the cat fat. No, they're actually finished their growth spurt. I mean, large breed dogs, they'll grow for 2 years. So it's sort of a little bit pet specific, but the average time at which we spay or neuter a pet, that pet's growth rate is really slowed down, and we're overfeeding.
What age do you recommend? People say, 8 weeks or maybe 2 months. Or is there a set age?
Typically, I mean, the studies show you can do them at 8 to 12 weeks. Some
Really?
shelters do that, more in the West than we do here, because then they're leaving their shelter